Welcome to Salon Scheduler, to our first training video. This is a video on how to set up your services for the scheduler. And what you want to do, see, a service on the scheduler is basically an inventory item that's marked as a service. Because a service is an inventory item that has a duration and a break and an associated commission, maybe even a description. But basically, a service is just a fancy inventory item. So before you can set up your services on the scheduler, you have to set up your inventory items. You do that using your inventory app, and your inventory app will look like this right here, hopefully something similar to that. If you don't see your inventory app on your Clover device, make sure you look at both screens. Sometimes Clovers have 2 or 3 screens of apps. Also, make sure you're logged in as a manager or admin, because depending on your permissions, you may not have permission to see the inventory app. Basically, you start the inventory app by tapping on it. When you're looking at the inventory app, you'll see over here on your left items and categories. Okay, categories are basically like big buckets that hold a lot of items, or like folders, you can even say. Right, so you have your items and you have categories in which those items are found. So, like, let's say I want to I can create a new item. You can go add item, and you name your item. Let's call it a new haircut. Not an old haircut or not a haircut, because we already have that. You can make the item a fixed price item or a variable priced item. And the difference is, a variable priced item, we're going to ask you the price right when you check out. A fixed price item, you can set the price at the, as you set up the item. So we'll put the price here as, say, $9.99. And the item cost, that's your cost. You can leave that as 0. That's just the cost for you. It's for your own. Same thing with quantity, product code, SKU. Those are used by you if you have like a scanner, things like that. Okay. Right now there's no category, so we're not going to put in any category. And let's just tap save. So we created an item, an inventory item called a new haircut. Then you go over here to your category. Now, what you do is you'd add all of your services as well as all your non-services to your inventory. Okay. Then you come over here to categories, and you can create a new category. Let's say we'll call it your haircuts, or let's just call it hair. It's a category called hair. Okay. Once you create the category, then you can add what items are in that category, right? So, like, we're just going to put one item in this category, and we're going to put the item. You can tap this pencil here at the top. Right. And we're going to choose that item we just made, which is called new haircut. Now, I don't see it really easily, but I can search for it. See, I can type new hair. Oh, there it is right there. So we can say that item, we want to add it to this category that we're creating called hair. See? Okay. Now, I just added an item to this category, and see, it shows up right there. What you want to do is, for all of your services you're offering, you want to create them as under items, you want to create them as inventory, and then you want to add them all to various categories in your inventory. That's just, how do you do that? It's up to the business, to the organization of your business, how you like to break it down. We'd recommend like a category for hair, or category for nails, category for, just anything that you offer. And then add all your items to those categories. You can also add your shampoos, your hair brushes, your products. Those will also be items, but those are not part of the scheduler setup. Okay. So after you do this, after you've set up all of your items, then you go over to the scheduler icon. And let me take you there now. We're going to go to the scheduler, and we're going to set up, out of all those inventory items, we're going to tell the scheduler which ones are services. Okay. So what you do, you go to the scheduler, you tap on the pencil at the top. Wait a minute while it syncs its data with the cloud. You tap on what's service settings right here. Okay. When you tap on service settings, you're going to see a list of all of your categories that you've set up. Now, we have a lot because this is a test system, but here we go. We have a category called hair. Then you'll see all the items in that category. We see the new haircut. You choose your item. See right here, there's a switch. It says, is service? Is it on or off? You can turn it on. That tells the scheduler that this is a service, not a product. It's going to be a service. Then you give it a default duration, like how long does this service take to perform? Okay, let's say it takes 25 minutes. A break duration, let's say there's a 10-minute break. Okay, Now this break is only used if you schedule more than one service in an appointment. So if you only schedule one appointment, the duration of 25 minutes will be the appointment length. If you schedule more than one service on an appointment, then the break will be the space in between the two services. You could use that for a blow dry and then followed by another service, right? So the commission, that's a default commission that an employee is going to earn for that particular product. And the cost is almost always zero. The cost is usually like the cost to perform a product. It'd be like the amount an employee gets for performing a service before the commission kicks in. So normally that would be zero. Okay, and you can go back to items and you can set up another item. So basically what you want to do is go through all of your categories and go through all of your items and turn on your services like I just showed you. And again, when you turn on a service, when you turn on a service right here, you give it a duration, a break, and a commission. What you're doing is you're setting up the default duration, break, and commission. Later on in our next video, when we talk about setting up your employees, you can change these for each employee, but you want to have a starting value. So these are the starting values for any time you create a new employee. And also it's kind of the starting values because sometimes all your employees, all the times and everything are the same and you don't want to set all that up. Okay. So that concludes how you would set up your services for the scheduler. Okay. The next video, we're going to talk about how to set up your employees.